the lake had other secrets to yield. Scores of Celtic artifacts were discovered, artifacts from all over Britain. Here was a monumental sacrifice by the Druids. Spearheads, deliberately rendered useless, a desperate plea to the gods for help against the advancing Romans. The gods turned deaf ears to their prayers, but there's still more to this story. This is Lindowman in Cheshire, in Celtic times a no man's land between three Celtic tribes. A sacred place, an abode of the Druids, a natural temple for their ceremonies. It was also the scene of a 20th century murder mystery. The detective in charge of the case was George Abbott. Little did he know when he started his inquiries that the case would be solved by a fortuitous discovery in the peat. On the edge of the moss lived Peter Rainbart, a homosexual constantly harassed by his work colleagues at Manchester Airport. A marriage of convenience was arranged with Malika Maria de Fernandez. It was doomed from the start, and when she started making financial demands on him, she mysteriously disappeared. Immediately, Rainbart was questioned, but nothing could be proved. Lindowman had for years been a profitable site for the peat cutters. Then in May 1983, this skull was discovered. The press had a field day. Surely it was the skull of Rainbart's missing wife.
In June 1983, we again interviewed Rainbart with the additional evidence of the skull, and he admitted strangling his wife, dismembering her on the patio, which isn't there now, attempting to burn the body, but then burying her in this garden.
The skull, in fact, dated from the 2nd century AD.
It seems ironic that the skull of a woman who was probably murdered 1700 years before had come back from the grave, so to speak, to help convict the murderer of another woman whose identity has never really been established, or her background. And subsequently to that, it led to the finding of another murder victim, Lindowman.
Lindowman was yet another amazing discovery from the waters of the moss. Again perfectly preserved, and again showing no resistance to death.
He suffered what I take to be not part of the threefold death, but a mercy blow to the back of his head, enough to stun him. And what followed was followed with absolute precision. It was obviously carried out, the threefold death, by a very expert executioner who knew exactly what he was doing. He was garroted. Almost simultaneously his throat was cut, and those are two methods of death, the noose and the knife. And then I think he was probably either fell forwards or was pushed forwards, face down, into the pool, and that was the drowning part of it. But it was done with tremendous skill. It was no mugging or bungled job.
Lindowman was dated to the 1st century AD, clearly a period of desperation for the Druids as the Roman troops advanced against them.